No forget Jesus. UFC 221 from Perth, Australia. The broken card. The card that a lot of MMA fans were, let's be real here, a lot of people weren't excited for this card. A lot of people were kind of like trashing this card.
Perth, Australia.
Oh, sorry about the
broken
echo there, people. Look at me and my professionalism. But yeah, UFC 221. A lot of people weren't excited for this card. Can't blame you. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't buy this card. So, like, really, to be honest, like, when it comes down to it, I base my entertainment value on if I would pay for a card. I understand when people don't pay for a card, they're like, oh, the card was great. That's good. But at the same time, it's like, man, is the card really that good if you didn't pay for it and everything like that? So, yeah, UFC 221, an Australian card. Crowd was hot. That's all I could really say. But overall, the fights, they weren't that bad. They were entertaining fights. I enjoyed myself watching most of these fights. I only watched really the main card. Had a bunch of other stuff that I was doing today. But yeah, man, I had fun watching UFC 221. Definitely probably one of the more surprise events of the year. Of course, every event has controversy. Yoel Romero missed weight. And so, instead of being the interim champion tonight, Yoel Romero is walking away with just a big win over Rockhold. And we don't even know if that win really matters, if anything, because technically he didn't win a middleweight fight. He won a catchweight fight against Rockhold. So, is he next in line for Bobby Knuckles? Who knows? You know, that's up to the UFC to decide. Me personally, I think Yoel Romero should be next in line to face Bobby Knuckles. The first fight they had was really freaking close. And honestly, Yoel Romero, I don't know who's better than him right now in the middleweight division. I mean, think about this, guys. Yoel Romero is going to be 41 years old, and he looks like that. He looks like the way that he is, man. That shit's crazy. But we'll talk more about that Rockhold and Romero fight. Let's talk about the rest of the card. The rest of the card was pretty much Australia versus other countries. Tyson Pedro, an Australian native, took on Saparab Saparov. Saparov was like a really hyped up guy in the UFC. Before he even came to the UFC, a lot of the outside UFC people were hyping this guy up. Finished a lot of his fights. I believe like all of them like near the first round. 8 of his like 6 wins are in the first round or something like that. Crazy ass stat. But Tyson Pedro, pretty much minus his weak takedown defense, he looked good. Ended up with the Kimura, nice little sweep. Ended up winning. Looked really good. Looks like a young star for that UFC light heavyweight division. But man, if you're going to be in the light heavyweight division, you got to know how to wrestle, man. Like, you got to learn some takedown defense. You can't be in the light heavyweight division and not know how to defend the takedown. Because a lot of the top fighters in the light heavyweight division are all good wrestlers. You know, they will take you down. John Jones, DC, freaking Glover Teixeira is an underrated wrestler. Oben St. Preux. Like, you can't go against the top guys without having some takedown defense. And man, this guy has no takedown defense whatsoever. I believe that's how he lost his only fight in the UFC, Tyson Pedro, is because he had no takedown defense. So yeah, Tyson Pedro wins. Looked impressive. Jake Matthews and Ling Jane Lan, the Leech, had a welterweight bout. Jake Matthews, I swear, he fights on every Australian card. Every time there's a card in Australia, this fool is always fighting on the card. His second fight at the welterweight division. The Leech is going, what's it called, is going for his 5th straight win and looking to face a top tier welterweight fight after this one. There was some controversy in the second round. Jake Matthews had a guillotine choke caught in on Jane Lane. And Jane Lane pretty much really eye gouged him, like straight up, this was not even subliminal. This is a straight up eye gouge that this fool did onto Jake Matthews, and Jake Matthews' eye was like bleeding like freaking crazy after it. And like, it's funny, Dana White will go on Twitter and complain about, oh, like last weekend, Dana White was bitching about Mario Yamasaki not stopping a fight pretty fucking early between Shevchenko and her opponent. And that Brazil card, Dana White had no problem complaining about this. He didn't see this bald-ass motherfucker on Twitter or on Instagram complaining about this eye poke or this eye rake. It was terrible. I'm sitting here like, dude, really, Dana? You're going to sit here and complain about Mario Yamasaki, but you ain't going to complain about this ref not taking away a point for that eye poke? Man, that shit was terrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen officiating-wise. And then Jake Matthews, after the fight, give him credit for being a cool dude, but really, to be honest, that's some cookie-cutter babyface shit. I don't want to see boring UFC fighters, man. Like, can these guys have personalities, man? Like, seriously, they're all like, oh, yeah, man, it's a heat of the moment bullshit. Like, whatever. Jake Matthews won. He's 2-0 now as a welterweight. I think 6-3 overall in the UFC. Can't remember off the top of my head. Taya Tuivasa took on Cyril Asker, and he pretty much, this was jiggle mania between these two guys. They were jiggling all over the place, and they were just like, it was like, if you told me these are UFC fighters, I wouldn't believe you. Taya ended up winning, knocking out Ayers in like the first round. Then afterwards, he had the most awkward post-fight interview. Like, he had like a Derek the Black Beast Lewis post-fight interview. Like, he just didn't give a fuck what he was saying on the microphone. And then afterwards, he goes and he grabs a shoe from the crowd. Like, some in Australia, man. Like, man, that was just the weirdest thing ever. Poured their beer in the shoe, and he just drank it. He just drank beer from the shoe. Like, what the hell? All right, do you, dog. But, yeah, that was one of the weirdest things that I've seen, at least, from a UFC fighter after a post-fight. So he looked impressive, but I feel like once he shed some pounds, I feel like Taya, his actually stock might be in the light heavyweight division, not really in the heavyweight division. And then afterwards was the co-main event, one of the only fights that people actually know about. One of the only fights people are like, hey, who won this fight? You know, because no one else knows. Like, let's be real here. When it comes down to UFC, those first 3 fights, a lot of you people were like, who the hell is he talking about? And I don't blame you. I do not blame you if you don't know who the hell I was talking about. I actually did some research before this event because I was like, you know what? I actually want to try to talk about the undercard. Man, but talk about some of these guys, they're boring as hell. Just being dead honest here. So the co-main event, we had Mark Hunt took on Curtis Razor Blaydes. The Super Samoan fighting in his hometown, or not in his home area, whatever you want to say. And then pretty much Curtis Blaydes was trying to stand with Mark Hunt, trying to see if he can like take some punches. Mark Hunt rocked him in the first round. Then Curtis Blaydes was like activate wrestling mode and pretty much took down Mark Hunt a la Brock Lesnar, beat the fuck out of Mark Hunt. Hunt had a lot of chances to get up, but then Blaydes just tripped him up or did some impressive slams. And, you know, this didn't really went well with the Australian fans. A lot of the Australian fans were booing. I understand because it's one of their hometown heroes. But if Mark Hunt was doing this shit, I'll guarantee these fans would have been like, oh, oi, 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 oh, oi, 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 oh, oi, oi, oi. So really, to be honest here, it's a double standard. Curtis Blaydes just ended up saying, look, I'm not going to get knocked the fuck out here. I've already got one doctor stoppage because of Francis Ngannou's big-ass hands. I'm not losing to lose a fight to Mark Hunt here. I can't lose a fight to Mark Hunt. Curtis Blaydes ends up winning. Yeah, it was a solid performance. I wouldn't say dominant, but it was a solid performance. Who won the main fight? Yoel Romero. Don't forget Jesus, the chosen one. That's who won the main fight. That's who's won the main fight. That's like my favorite comments, guys. When like I'm like talking about another fight, because like people will complain, oh, you gotta talk about all the fights. Then everyone just asks me who won the main fight. It's like one of my favorite comments. It's like, what do you all want? Do you guys just want me to say who won the main fight? Shut off the video? I don't know. But yeah, when it comes down to it, man, Mark Hunt ended up losing. I won't be surprised if Mark Hunt's complaining backstage somewhere, asking for USADA tests, whining, hey man, you got paid $700,000, get your ass kicked. So good for you, man. Curtis Razor Blaydes, what's his next step? I honestly don't know. Because normally after a win like this, especially in the weak heavyweight division, he would be fighting someone. I mean, maybe Redoom. I don't know what Redoom's dumbass is doing, but maybe fight Redoom. Cain Velasquez is healthy. That would actually be an interesting fight, him versus Cain Velasquez. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they'll do next with him. But yeah, that was the co-main event. Now, I know a lot of people were just saying, okay, I know who Mark Hunt was, but who the fuck is Curtis Blaydes? I don't blame you. Then it was time for a co-main event for the half interim middleweight championship. Why do I call it the half interim middleweight championship? Well, Yoel Romero missed weight by 2.7 pounds. So instead of weighing in at 185 pounds, he weighed in at 187.7, making this a catchweight bout. So, which means if Yoel Romero won this fight, technically he did not win a middleweight championship, middleweight fight. He won a catchweight fight. And if Luke Rockhold won, Luke Rockhold would have won the interim middleweight championship. But like, I don't get this logic. Like, maybe someone can explain this to me in the chat or in the comment section. So, someone with more knowledge than I do about this ruling. Because for me, I'm just like, how does this make sense? How does someone get all of a sudden like the title when they don't even win a fight in their own division? Oh, because they made the weight. No, the fight's now a catchweight bout. This is a catchweight bout. This is not. This is for like a catchweight title. This is not even for a middleweight title at this point. So yeah, Yoel Romero lost. Did not make the weight. At first, he was 3 pounds over. Then later on, they gave him 2 hours, and the guy could only lose 0.3 pounds. I don't know what the hell was going on for those 2 hours of his cutting, but it must have been bad. He should have probably asked DC for his magic towel. Maybe DC's magic towel could have made him weight. But yeah, so Yoel Romero, I like Rockhold. I really do like Luke Rockhold. I think he's one of the better middleweights in the world, and one of the better fighters in the world. And I feel like he could like definitely go up to a different division, and he could definitely do good. But I just had a suspicion, man. I was like, man, no way Romero's losing, dude. This guy right here, Yoel Romero, this guy right here is just such a big athletic freak. I mean, I said it earlier, man. I said it earlier. Yoel Romero is going to turn 41 years old soon. That guy looks like that when he's 41 years old. That dude is young as hell for a 41-year-old. He looks young. He's just a monster. He's just a freak. And so I knew Romero was going to win. I had like a suspicion Romero was going to win this fight. So Luke Rockhold comes in. The first round, honestly, it was super close. Rockhold had more strikes landed, but Romero had more like significant strikes. I remember seeing the graphic. So that was like a close round. Like you could have given it to either person. And especially too because Romero did check Rockhold's legs and caused Rockhold to start bleeding from his shin, which was like super disgusting, man. I was like, oh my God. And then in the second round, that was all Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero tapped into his inner Vitor, went all Vitor Belfort crazy, started to like rock Rockhold a little bit. That's kind of funny to say Rockhold. It's like a, well, what are those things? Ah, fuck it. I ain't gonna try to be all smart on here. I'm talking about MMA. So yeah, Rockhold. He was rocking Rockhold a little bit. And then what's it called? Who did everyone give Fight of the Night to? I gave Fight of the Night, Dustin Green, to... If I were to give Fight of the Night, it'd probably be Matthews. Just for the main card, Matthews versus the Leech. That was probably the most entertaining fight, minus the eye poke that was going on and stuff like that. But yeah, so in the first round, the second round, Romero just pretty much like, and a lot of times too, Romero would just stand there and then he would just go crazy, like full on Vitor Belfort mode where he's just knocking the heck out of Luke Rockhold. Then in the third round, this is where I was saying, all right, man. Either A, Romero's finally going to do his wrestling, or B, he's finishing this fight. Because the one thing about Yoel Romero is that he gasses out really easily. He just doesn't have a full gas tank for 5 rounds. That's just how his body is built. And I talked about this with Francis Ngannou the last time I did a recap. You have all that muscle mass, man. You're going to get tired, dude. And Yoel Romero uses a lot of motion, dude. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Romero likes to stand there. He does this with his hands. Like, he was even, like, trying to hammer fist Luke Rockhold's knee. Like we all talk about John Jones trying to do that weird, like, oblique kick. Freaking Yoel Romero does this. Like, Romero does a lot of, like, weird stuff with his hands and stuff like that. And you can tell that gets him a little bit tired. And plus, Romero, when he goes in for a strike, it's not just like, okay, let me just do this. It's full force, man. Like, Romero goes in, like, full power, full athleticism. It's just insane, dude. This guy is just, like, he's just a weird fighter, man. And so, like, normally when you watch Romero fights, third or fourth rounds when he actually tries to use his wrestling, 1, so that way he can catch his breath and kind of just lay there for a little bit, and 2, so that way he can look good with style points, because he's a very good wrestler. People forget how good of a wrestler Yoel Romero is. I mean, silver medalist and everything like that. Actually won it in Australia, to be honest. But yeah, Romero ended up going in. The fight was just kind of like, and that's the thing about Romero, his knockouts are just like that. Like, you can just be watching the fight, and then it's just like, boom, it happens, and it's just fucking awesome. So Rockhold and Romero just doing some pleasant exchanges. Romero comes in, misses a right, boom, gets him with the left. Rockhold goes to sleep, but that wasn't even the most brutal shot, man. Rockhold was down by the cage. He was already loopy. Romero goes down, boom, 1 ground and pound left. That referee, fastest thing I've ever seen. He went Sonic the Hedgehog, went in the middle, was like, no, it's over. Rockhold was asleep. He got knocked out like it was the Bisping thing all over again. And then afterwards, Yoel Romero, man, celebrates, acting all crazy and stuff. And then afterwards, man, Yoel Romero's motherfucking ass he goes up to Rockhold. He's like, ah, you did good. You're awesome. Look, Rockhold. And he's like kissing Rockhold on the cheek. And I'm like, dude, you just knocked him out. Like, Can you give like personal space? Like Yoel Romero, maybe this is a Cuban thing. I don't know. I don't know many Cubans in my personal life, so I can't say like, oh yeah, Cubans do this all the time, you know. But man, dude, you just knocked someone out. Get out of his personal bubble. Let this motherfucker breathe for a minute, dude. He literally just got up from you taking his soul, and you're over here patting him like he's some little child, kissing him like he's your girl. Like, what the hell are you doing, man? Give some personal space. I like you, but man, for real. And then Yoel Romero asked for the camera. Thank you, Jesus. Jesus is great. No forgate Jesus. Then he gets his interview, and he's like sitting down too. Like, Romero's just such an interesting character, man. He is just such an interesting character. Like, I just don't understand this. Like, he's just so funny. And he's just sitting down, like, and he's doing his interview, and he's like, that's an Italian thing, JC. Like I said, I don't know many Cubans, so I don't know if that's like a Cuban thing, because, you know, I know many people from different Hispanic descents, but I don't know any Cubans like that. But yeah, man, so Romero wins, and, you know, the main question is, should he fight Bobby Knuckles? Look, I think he should. We should see Bobby Knuckles versus Romero too. But at the same time, man, when it comes down to it, Yoel Romero, he did miss weight. And when you miss weight and you fought in a catchweight bout, I kind of don't feel like you should be rewarded for it, man. You know, like, I don't think you shouldn't be rewarded for that type of shit, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you miss weight on one of your, you know, and this was a big card for the UFC. You know, they went to Australia. They were putting a lot of market into this card. This was one of UFC's bigger cards. And he did miss weight, so it's kind of hard for me to sit here and say, oh yeah, Yoel Romero, he should get the title shot. I don't know if Yoel Romero really deserves a title shot. I really don't know if I would give it to him. You know, he's one of the best fighters in the middleweight division. Probably one of the top 10 fighters in the UFC. But man, I don't know if I should give him a title shot after this, man. Like, honestly, he missed weight. He's going to have to pay Rockhold his purse. Hey, Rockhold's walking away a winner regardless, man. He's still going to look good with all those cuts and everything. But yeah, man, UFC 221. I don't know what you guys thought about the show. I thought it was an alright show. You know, for me watching it for free, it felt like a free show. Now, I could imagine if I paid money for this shit, like 60 bucks, oh, I'd be pissed. Like, I'd be like, what the fuck did I pay money for, man? So it's like a Latino thing. Like, I've never seen Latinos do that before, man. Like, I'm just being dead honest. Maybe that's just me, man. Spirit animal, one in my eyes. Yeah, you've been saying that, man. You spirit animal. Yoel Romero's a funny cat, dude. He's a very interesting dude. I don't know if, like, the stream... Yeah, say 3 more fights before title. I want to say 3 more fights, maybe 2 more. Maybe give Weidman his rematch against Romero, or maybe give Jacare the fight with Romero first. Make that a title eliminator. That's what I would say, man. I definitely lost height when Bobby got cut and Romero missed weight, to be honest. Yeah, no, because like it sucked what happened to Bobby Knuckles. Hopefully he's fine, dude. I haven't heard any updates that dude's staph infection's under control, but hopefully he's fine. But yeah, man, because with Romero, honestly, man, I would have him fight Jacare or Weidman again. Both of those two again, to be honest. Just so that way it's like kind of like, hey, look, we understand that you beat Rockhold, and we understand you are #1 in the middleweight rankings, but you did miss weight. And we gotta punish you. Like, we're not gonna give you Bobby Knuckles just because, yeah, you beat Rockhold. No, I would give him Weidman. I would give him Jacare. I would say, hey, you fight one of those 2 boys. If you beat one of them, then yeah, you, and especially if you beat them in a press fashion and you make weight, then yeah, we'll give you Bobby Knuckles. And then I would have Whitaker fight whoever, you know, Romero isn't fighting. That's what I would do, man. Well, Rockhold and DC, they're friends, but they're no longer teaming together. Rockhold doesn't fight at AKA anymore. So, that he doesn't fight at AKA anymore, so it's not a big thing. The Italian thing? Oh, yeah. I just don't know what it is. Like, I just feel like he needs to add some personal space to his bubble. But yeah, man, that was UFC 221. So, I don't know, like, what you guys saw about the card. But I just thought it was alright. It was alright. It was a good time Saturday night. You know, a lot of people seemed interested. I don't know if the post-fight press was just started. I was like, man, dude, the post-fight presser just started. Yeah, I know he's Cuban, but I said I don't know any Cubans, so I don't know if that's their personality. For people who are just joining the stream, Luke Rockhold lost and Yoel Romero won, because I know that's going to be a question that's going to show up. So I'm going to remind people every like 5 seconds about that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, other UFC stuff that you guys want to ask me, you guys can ask me in the chat and stuff like that. Like, I will definitely answer any UFC stuff. Brock Lesnar might be coming back to the UFC soon. The former heavyweight champion said that after WrestleMania 34, he's looking to make a comeback. And a lot of people are wondering, is this really a good move for Lesnar and his point of his career? Look, the thing is this, though. Brock Lesnar can do whatever the fuck he wants, man. You know, the thing is, but he was on estrogen blockers. You know, he failed the test last time. His year is up. The thing is, Brock Lesnar is one of the biggest draws in UFC history. That's just it. UFC, they need their stars. They love their stars, man. You know UFC is desperate if they're looking to try to get Floyd Money Mayweather to fight in the octagon. We'll talk about that rumor in a minute. But yeah, Lesnar, I'm not going to be surprised if he's leaving WWE. Look, his time in WWE, it's been a mixed road. You know, they messed up with him at first. And then afterwards, they kind of figured out what to do with him. But then they never really evolved the Suplex City character. They kind of just kept him as a Suplex City character, and it kind of got stale. You know, he did that one-off UFC fight, and I felt that was one of the times more people got hyped for the UFC than ever, man. Was for UFC 200. Oh, people were so hyped for that, man. I feel UFC 200, the reason why the buy rate was so bad, because, listen, they lost Conor and Nate. They lost Cormier and Jones. I mean, no offense to Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate's a wonderful woman. Amanda Nunes is a badass, but they ain't fucking selling out shows. That's just it. You know, pretty much that UFC card 200 was carried by Brock Lesnar's dumbass with basically Mark Hunt. That's the reason why I got the buys that they got. And, you know, Anderson Silva, you know, kind of helped a little bit, but not that much. You know, Lesnar's gonna come to the UFC, and he's gonna be a star, and there's gonna be a lot of good fights for him to pair him up with, man. There's a lot of good fights. And the thing about Lesnar too is that, you know, this would be probably the healthiest Brock Lesnar that we have ever seen in the UFC. That's the thing that people don't understand, is that Lesnar, he was going through all the diverticulitis shit. He's going to be the most healthiest Brock Lesnar we've ever seen. And that's the scary part about it. So yeah. Would you give my spirit animal a title shot later this year at MSG? Not really, because like I said, he needs to beat someone before he gets the title shot, because like he missed weight. That's how I would do it, but knowing the UFC, they would probably give it to him. So yeah, Brock Lesnar coming back to UFC, I'm down with that, man. I'm down with that. Go right ahead. I think it would help that heavyweight division. I really do. And I think we would see a better Lesnar. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to dominate the heavyweight division. No. But you can't tell me Lesnar versus Ngannou does not entice some people. Or Lesnar versus Stipe. And I bet you those heavyweights, they have no problem facing Lesnar, man. Because you know their paychecks will go up facing Brock Lesnar. You know, Stipe was making negotiations. Like, no offense to Stipe. He's a wonderful fighter, a really good fighter. But, man, dude ain't no draw like Lesnar. Just bottom line. So, yeah. I'm good with Brock Lesnar coming back. It helps the heavyweight division that needs the most help. You know, the heavyweight division needs the most help in the world, man. Because literally the heavyweight division is just like a bunch of guys. Like, one guy will get a bunch of hype because he's knocking out fools. And then he gets beaten up by one of the overall heavyweights. And then we don't really care about him anymore. So, yeah. And Jones versus Lesnar. Yeah, true. Isaac Brock is right. Yeah, that's like a huge money fight, dude. That fight would have happened this year if Jones didn't get popped, man. That fight would have happened this year, or that fight would have happened late last year. Because we all know Lesnar was probably going to take a break from WWE late last year to face John Jones. Oh, at Madison Square? The same card that GSP was taking on Bisping? Oh, you cannot tell me that Jones versus Lesnar was not like the slated main event for that card. That would have been huge. So anyways, other MMA stuff to talk about. Floyd Mayweather. Is he going to be fighting in MMA or not? We don't know. There's been a lot of funny posts that Floyd Mayweather has been posting. Mayweather posted a funny video of him going into the cage and stuff like that, decked out in MMA gear. Then he posted a funny video where he's standing there with his gloves. He's like, Floyd Mayweather, 5 rounds, MMA, who you got? And stuff like that. Conor McGregor obviously respond. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC worked out a deal with Floyd Mayweather to fight in the UFC. They did partnerships before. I know a lot of people say it won't happen, but a lot of people were also saying Conor versus Floyd wouldn't happen. At this point, I don't doubt the circus that is mixed martial arts to get Floyd Mayweather to fight in mixed martial arts. I see that happening, and I see that being beneficial for both parties. Whether Floyd wins or loses, it doesn't fucking matter. It really, really doesn't matter. GSP is a bigger draw than Jon Jones because GSP has a Canadian fan base, and also GSP, as far as a track record, is way more consistent than Jon Jones was. You know, Jon Jones, his first 2 years as a champion, he was very consistent. Then all the bullshit started to happen, and then Jon Jones started to fall a little bit. So that's why he's not as big as a draw. If Jon Jones was more consistent, he'd be a draw. But yeah, Mayweather's going to fight most likely in UFC soon. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe that's what Conor's waiting for. Maybe that's why Dana White doesn't want it. I swear, dude, how funny it would be if it's Mayweather and McGregor for the lightweight title. And that's why Dana White... Because let's be real here, man. Dana White hasn't said shit. Dana White hasn't said shit about that lightweight title situation. Like, he won't strip Conor. Like, he's saying, oh, yeah, you know, it's for Ferguson and Khabib is for the belt. But yet, he hasn't said shit about Conor being the champion or not. So that's what I'm thinking, man. Because, you know, Floyd did beat Conor. Whether it was in MMA or boxing, Floyd did beat him. So technically, Floyd is the #1 contender if you think about it. But what if that's what they're building up for, man? I don't think Anderson Silva and Roy Jones Jr. is going to happen because Roy Jones Jr. had his final fight last UFC Fight Pass. So I think Roy Jones Jr. is done. So yeah. But yeah, when it comes down to it, Mayweather fighting, that seems like a thing that I can see happening. And also, other news. I don't understand how injuries happen in training camp a lot of times for UFC fighters when they've been fighting and training for years. UFC 222 lost its main event. Max Holloway has an undisclosed ankle injury. Seems like he'll probably be back soon, but I understand why he probably didn't want to fight Frankie Edgar on an ankle injury. I mean, you're fighting one of the best wrestlers in UFC history in Frankie Edgar, and you have a bum ankle. That doesn't sound like a winning formula. So I get it. I understand. You know, as Max Holloway would say, it is what it is. Hashtag broke era. So, Frankie Edgar, poor dude can't catch a break. He's going to fight TC Ortega. Like, fuck him. I feel bad, man. TC, man, dude. But then again, Frankie's known for shutting down all the hype trains, man. But I don't know. TC Ortega is one of those guys, man. TC Ortega is one of those dudes. And I know it's Brian, but I like saying TC Ortega, man. TC Ortega is one of those guys, man, that can catch Frankie Edgar in a guillotine. Like, I think TC Ortega has a chance against, like, a huge, good chance against Frankie Edgar. I might bet money on that shit. But, yeah, man. Like, straight up, man, I feel bad for Frankie Edgar, man. This dude can't catch a break, dog. So, Frankie Edgar's going to fight Brian Ortega in the co-main. And in the main event, so UFC was scrambling for a main event. Because they were like, oh, man, dude, we got to get a main event. We can't have Brian Ortega versus Frankie Edgar main event. Now, if this was UFC back in 2009, oh, they wouldn't give a shit, dude. UFC would have main evented in 2009 with this shit, and that would have sold out, man. But this just shows how desperate the UFC is. Like, they need a title match to main event. So they were trying to get Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw too. And then, like, TJ Dillashaw was like, no, I'm not going to do that fight. Like, seriously, why the fuck? Like, why the fuck is, like, that a fight that I would pay pay-per-view money for? No. Cody Garbrandt lost. I have no interest. I would rather see Cody Garbrandt fight someone else. I am hyped up for Dillashaw versus Mighty Mouse. Give me that instead. So, that didn't fall through. Amanda Nunes said she wasn't ready to fight. And, honestly, why would I want to pay for fucking Amanda Nunes pay-per-view? Her last pay-per-view only did 100,000 buys. And this is the girl who beat Honda Housey. She beat Honda Housey, and this bitch can barely get 100,000 buys. Why would you want her on the pay-per-view, main eventing? And they couldn't find anyone else. So, Cyborg, yeah, at first they didn't think Cyborg could get into the get ready in time, but fucking Cyborg's a beast, and Cyborg's gonna face Yana Katakayaya for the main event for the women's featherweight title. Hey, good on Cyborg. This is the girl that she wanted to face. I mean, Kutsukaya, I can't say her last name. Yana, this is her featherweight debut. Whatever, man. It is what it is. As Max Holloway would say, it is what it is. Yeah, UFC 222 in a flux. TC Ortega is not as well-rounded as Edgar is. Man, he has underrated striking. I think TC has underrated striking, man. His striking is getting better and better. I think his striking is a little bit underrated for what you need it to be in the featherweight division. But yeah, man, I feel bad for Frankie Edgar, dude. I hope he wins. Like I love TC Ortega, and I think that guy has like such a good special future in the UFC. But at the same time, man, I just hope Frankie wins because I want Frankie to finally get a title shot, man. It's funny, man. Frankie Edgar used to be the title shot king. Like, he would always get title shot after title shot. Like, now, man, I feel bad for this dude, man. Like, now that he's, like, actually, like, ready and primed to face a young talent that I think he could actually, like, stand a chance against. Like, both times with like I felt that he had a chance against Conor McGregor. Like, a real good chance against Conor McGregor. Because Chad Mendes is way smaller than Conor McGregor, who was taking him down. Just think about Frankie Edgar. I think Frankie Edgar could have taken him down and did some damage, too. And that Max Holloway, you know, his takedown defense has not really been tested on a wrestler on the caliber of Frankie Edgar, man. So, yeah. That's why, man, I feel bad for the dude. I just want this guy to get a title shot, man. Like I like TC Ortega. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I want that dude to succeed. But, man, dude, like, I kind of just want Frankie. I hope Frankie Edgar just wins, man. Hope Frankie Edgar just wins, gets his title shot, man. Because he's earned it, dude. The dude's a UFC Hall of Famer. And I want to see if this guy can become a two-weight division champ, because I think he can. Like, I honestly think he could do some damage against Max Holloway, because a lot of people are going to be like, nah, Max Holloway could beat Frankie Edgar because Edgar struggled against Aldo. Here's the thing. The fight game, the fight world is so different, man. You know, styles make fights. And, you know, just how Jose Aldo fights, it plays to Max Holloway's style. But how Frankie Edgar fights, it doesn't play to Max Holloway's style. Frankie Edgar fights on a whole different level, a whole different style that may throw Holloway off. That's why I feel like Edgar could beat Holloway. But, man, dude, he has to get through TC Ortega, who I think is a good matchup against Frankie Edgar, because they're both really, because TC Ortega is a really good wrestler, and Ortega just has wonderful submission counters. Like this dude is like a submission wizard. Like, he's just such a weird wizard with the submission and the mat game that I feel like he could beat Frankie Edgar and catch Frankie Edgar. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, man, if it's like the third round of fight, Edgar goes in for a takedown, Ortega catches in with the triangle. It's like, man, dude, I wouldn't be surprised. So, yeah, man, like, it's going to be interesting to see how that fight plays out, but hope Frankie Edgar wins. Other than that, DC is going to take on Stipe Miocic at the International Fight Week card. I forgot the UFC number. I apologize. Can't remember all these silly numbers. But yeah, he's going to fight him at the International Fight Week card. There's a lot of rumors and talks that might be where Dillashaw versus Mighty Mouse might happen. And if Cyborg wins at UFC 222, they might try to get Nunez versus Cyborg on that card, making it an all champions affair and everything like that. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But what the card's going to shape to be. But yeah, DC versus Stipe, that's an interesting fight. If Alexander Gustafsson was healthier, I think that he would have been the one to fight DC next. But it is what it is. It is what it is, as Max Holloway would say. I hate that guy so much. El Cucuy! Oh, where's Dan Bones' bum that ass? He's still like jacking off the Tony Ferguson tape? Oh no. But yeah, so DC versus Stipe. Honestly, if there's a fight that scares me with Stipe, it is definitely Daniel Cormier. Cormier not only has like one hell of a chin, but the dude is just a really good wrestler, man. Superior wrestler, has sneaky good cardio. That fight's interesting, man, for hardcore MMA fans. I don't think the casual fans are like, oh, dying for this fight. Like, they're not like, oh, it's Stipe versus DC. Like, they're not dying for it. But for us hardcore fans, this is an exciting fight for sure. So I think DC can definitely take it from Stipe. But I've been on the Stipe train for a while, so I might just go with Stipe. So yeah. Gustafsson said beating Jones is way better than winning the title. Shit, man. I don't know. This new John Jones, man. John Jones is still scary, man. It's just scary how good that guy is still. So I think John Jones could beat Gustafsson, and that'll be a whole different fight than we would expect, in my personal opinion. What other MMA news happened? There's like one other MMA thing that happened that I feel like I'm missing talking about. Like, I remember I had it in my head that I wanted to mention it, but oh yeah, Tyron Woodley. There we go. It's about Tyron Woodley. Of course it is. Welterweight champion Tyron Woodley made a claim that he's going to fight Nate Diaz for the welterweight championship. Nate Diaz has finally decided that he wants to. It's crazy how big of a draw Nate Diaz is. And, like, here's the thing. If you knew the Diaz bros before, like, the Diaz bros have always just been super entertaining people, but Nick has always been the more established like brother. Nate was always like the rebellious brother that was like, he was fun to watch, but a lot of people didn't really like Nate all that much. It wasn't until really I would say the Donald Cerrone fight, Nate Diaz definitely got on the map with a lot of people, but it wasn't until the Conor fight that's when a lot of people saw Nate Diaz and stuff like that. And now Nate Diaz is like this mythical unicorn of a draw. Like, people want to like people are like, oh yeah, I want to fight Nate Diaz. Like, the fuck? Like, that's how. And it's like Nate Diaz, like, really his only big fights, like I said, is probably the Cerrone fight and the two Conor fights. And the Cerrone fight was in the middle of a card. Like, it wasn't even like a main event, but there was like so much. I remember there was so much hype for that fight, and like fucking Diaz took Cerrone to school and everything. But yeah, man, it's like Tyron Woodley apparently saying that he's going to fight Nate Diaz. Rafael Dos Anjos, he got pissed off about that. Dana White's attacking freaking Tyron Woodley. It's just a mess. Honestly, don't know why Tyron Woodley... Like, I understand Tyron Woodley wants money fights. And Tyron Woodley wants to... What's it called? And Tyron Woodley wants to, like, try to make that big money. But here's the thing, dude. All your title fights have been pretty bad. It's just how it is, man. And then Tyron Woodley, of all people, should not be sitting there saying, like, oh, you know, you have to earn your chance to defeat me. Dude, you waited 2 years before you got your title fight with Robbie Lawler, all right? You should be, like, one of those champions that tries to prove yourself, man. Because, honestly, the first Wonder Boy fight, you're lucky that you rocked him that one round. Otherwise, you would have lost. The second Wonder Boy fight, you should have lost. Because I don't understand how you could play to someone's strategy and still retain your title. And then later on, your third title defense against Damian Maia, you were afraid of Damian fucking Maia's submissions. Dude, you rocked him in the first round. You should be trying to knock this fool out. But this motherfucker was sitting there throwing pillows. It was like rock'em sock'em robots. The fuck? It's like, dude, this guy has no right now to say that he should be getting a title fight or anything like a big money fight, man. Tyron versus Bieber. Yeah, well, yeah, he wants money. Fight Justin Bieber. That'll get you the money. So, yeah, that's all the news in the UFC, guys. And I feel like that's it for this UFC stream tonight. I had fun doing this, guys. Enjoyed talking about some MMA and everything like that. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like what you saw, hit the subscribe button down below. Follow me on Twitter at ChaseSauer68. Remember, guys, do the salsa and yell, El Kukui! Fuck Tony Ferguson. Hey, damn Bones. Where you at, son? I'm coming.